Hello! Today's video is all about interior design through the lens of Studio Ghibli, or Hayao Miyazaki. What is it about these films that grabs us? For me personally, give me a fantasy, romance, a cleaning sequence, and I'm all in. These films by Hayao Miyazaki are my absolute favorite comfort films. The characters in these films are incredibly compelling with complex motivations. I've used these films for examples in past videos when talking about color theory or how to use color in interior design. It isn't just their use of color that makes these interiors so good, and that's what we're going to be discussing today. It feels extra meaningful when a setting has been carefully crafted through hand-drawn animation. This medium makes me want to pay attention to details even more as I'm watching. But also, I know this same concept can make me romanticize even going to the grocery store. And that's the beauty of Studio Ghibli. You're in a great adventure one minute, and then we slow down and romanticize a simple task that everyone has to do in their normal life, like dishes or cooking breakfast. And usually these are my favorite scenes. I had some friends over to watch Ponyo. They had never seen it before, and so I was introducing it to them, and I described it as a slice of life film. I was like, okay, just like, this is a slice of life, so have that expectation. As we were watching it, they were all like, this is not a slice of life. This is like a fantasy adventure action film. But the slice of life moments are what really stick with me after I finish a film, so that's the descriptor that I gave it, even though it was so much more than that. A lot of Kiki's Delivery Service fans would also describe that film as a slice of life, even though it's about a witch who's starting to learn how to use her flying power to succeed in her apprenticeship away from her family. One thing that makes Studio Ghibli films really special is the interesting architecture. In films like Spirited Away, Howl's Moving Castle, there is this fantastical ideal of maybe a castle or a really grand space. It kind of shows off the decadence and fanciness and pretty much all that you could get in the world that the film has built. And I can get inspired by these spaces, but unless I live in a castle, these are more aspirational and less inspirational. And in the themes of these films, I think sometimes that's part of the point. They fill us with awe, but they don't make us feel at ease. In these same films, we're often taken to another space that is a more realistic, everyman type of home. A smaller, humbler, more realistic home that we come to hold in just as much awe because of the character, personality, and livability. I can use these homes as inspiration because these feel a little more grounded in reality. This channel has given me the opportunity to learn a lot about interior design, but I've been wanting to dig deeper, and that brings us to today's sponsor, Skillshare. I'm so thankful to Skillshare for being the very first sponsor of this channel. Skillshare is a learning platform with thousands of classes that dive into creative niches like Gabriel Piccolo's class on character illustration, product photography by Elena Hassel, and Knitting 101 by Vincent Williams, to name a few. As a hobbyist and an artist, these classes interest me a lot. But to start off, I personally wanted to take some interior design classes, and I came across Interior Design for Beginners by Vanna Albertini. I used to teach art to middle schoolers, as some of you know, and I spent a lot of time teaching the elements and principles of design. As a teacher, I know how important it is to go back to the basics. I know I tapped into them subconsciously when designing my home, but seeing them spelled out in the context of interior design is so helpful. We can say a space feels good, but if we don't know why, then we can't recreate that feeling. That's what I really appreciated about Vanna Albertini's class. There's no fluff. She simply goes over what the elements and principles of design do and how they make us feel. There are a lot of Skillshare classes that are diving deeper into interior design, and I'm excited to take more. The first 500 people to use my link in the description or scan the QR code will get 1 month free trial of Skillshare. So get started today. And thank you again to Skillshare for sponsoring and making this video possible. Now, I was mentioning that the more intimate homes in Studio Ghibli films have that feeling of character and coziness and livability, and that is our next point. These homes have livability.
What a dump. When I think castle, it is not what I picture.
I had a friend over recently and we were both kind of reflecting on hoarder propensities, proclivities, tendencies is the word I was trying to say. My studio office, where we are right now, is kind of towing the line where it's a little bit chaotic and there's stuff piled up everywhere and there's things that need to be organized, for sure. And whenever people come into this room, I like apologize for the mess and I'm like, I need to organize, don't worry, I'm gonna organize. But they always say something kind of like, it's not a pile of junk, it's not like a bunch of useless items. These are all things that you're actively using. These are all things that you need to create, or these items have a specific purpose in the room. And it's all interesting to look at. It's not a pointless mess. So I'm still gonna clean and organize, but I can stop apologizing for the mess because maybe mess is the wrong term. There's much beauty in a home looking like someone actually lives there. You guys know I love knickknacks, and I have a ton of them. And knickknacks and things like this can sometimes equal clutter. But there's something about these types of items that show who you actually are. These items show personality and things that you love. We just have to make sure we're not sacrificing functionality. I wrote in all caps, have counter space. So if you have nowhere to set stuff down and you don't have any counter space or flat like table space, then that's when you gotta rethink. Is my home showcasing my personality or am I a hoarder? Figuring out that line for yourself. And on the topic of showing your personality through your home, that is the next point. Personality.
How many times have I told you? What happened to your room?
It's my own little garden.
Taking a look at my favorite Studio Ghibli spaces, we can see what it says about the person who lives there, and we can learn a lot about the character. Number 1 on the list, Howl's bedroom. In Howl's bedroom from Howl's Moving Castle, we see that he is a hoarder. He has a very childlike aspect to him, and he wants comfort. We can see that all these items in his bedroom are meaningful and they have a purpose. It seems like a lot of them are enchanted objects or they have a greater purpose that we can't really understand, but we know that he put them there for a reason. He is a materialist maximalist for sure. No hints of minimalism in this room. From the rich colors to the shiny objects littering every space on the walls, the floor, even on the bed. There's so many things that obviously being there bring him comfort. And there's things that you can tell are there to like ward away evil. Because we know he's living in fear of his old teacher who's out to get him, Madame Solomon, and he's living in fear of the Witch of the Waste, who he knows is chasing him down for his heart. Number 2 is Nausicaa's greenhouse. I watched Nausicaa in the Valley of the Wind when I was pretty young, and it had a big impression on me. Most of the Studio Ghibli characters are really amazing females, and so I was always really inspired and admired them and wanted to kind of be like them. And Princess Nausicaa was definitely up there for me. I was like, I could be like her. She's very warrior princess. But her greenhouse says a lot about her in terms of her bravery, because all of these plants were known to be poisonous, but she brought them home and planted them anyway. And it also shows her resourcefulness. She's been doing this in secret for a long time so that she could try to find a cure for what is creating all the poison in the air. Her main motivation is to save her people, and she's been fighting physically, but then she's also been doing this behind the scenes. I wish my greenhouse could look as healthy and cool as this. I know this is an animation. I know it's not a real space, but you know what I'm saying. Number 3 is Kiki's parents' house. We don't get to see a ton of this house, but the one room that really sticks with me is the sunroom, which it seems like it's sort of a workshop and maybe also the dining room. But in the space, they've totally utilized the windows to grow all the plants that they need to run their business. You can see Kiki's mom is like mixing potions and using the ingredients that she has all around her that she's planted. This space really shows us that Kiki's parents are really loving, caring. They've been like making these plants grow. They've been keeping them alive. They are also really resourceful because they've planted all the ingredients that they'll need to do everything that they need to do. Number 4 is Zeniba's cottage, which might be my favorite interior in any Studio Ghibli film ever. This home is incredibly cozy, calm, welcoming, warm, and kind. As soon as the crew walks in, they're welcomed in a really warm tone, which they didn't expect. And the house itself, you can tell that they didn't expect it because they were so used to the bathhouse and all the luxury and the decadence and the over-the-topness of that whole space. And so coming here, at this point, the movie really slows down and has you really settle into this cozy nook to kind of recover from all the trauma that's been happening to our main hero. But as you look around the space, a very specific descriptor comes to mind, which is resourceful. Maybe I need to look up a synonym for resourceful because I'm gonna keep saying it. The cottage is in the middle of nowhere. Like, you see that she's just in a swamp by herself. There's no one else around. And so everything that she uses, everything that she's doing, she has things like hung up all around the big studio space. I'm calling it a studio because it's like an open floor plan for sure. Like, the whole cottage is one room. I think there's like one door that might lead somewhere else, but for the most part, you can see everything. But with all the things hanging up, you know that she is like taking care to keep things that she knows she needs and to keep stock of things that she won't be able to get for a long time. That's at least how it felt. So I definitely see her as really resourceful. Number 5 is Arietti's bedroom. Looking around her room, you can just tell immediately that she is creative, she loves nature, she's super adventurous, and she's resourceful. That's all I want to be when I grow up, is resourceful, just like these people. Everybody here on this list is resourceful. I think that's just like a Ghibli prerequisite. You have to be resourceful to be a main character. But you can really tell that she loves the outdoors. I think the whole family, well, except the mom. The mom does not like to go outside, but they bring the outside in, maybe a little bit for the mother since she's not gonna go out. There's really bright colored objects and you can feel that the space has a lot of joy in it. Obviously they have to make everything because they're tiny little people, so everything that they have, they've like engineered it to be a smaller version of a thing that's in the normal large world. You can kind of see the ingenuity of these characters through their home. Number 6 is Dola's bedroom on the ship in Castle in the Sky. I'm realizing a lot of these are bedrooms, which I didn't notice when I made the list. Oh well. We see a lot of Dola's personality shine through, obviously just through what she does as a character, but when we get to see her bedroom, it kind of shows maybe a soft side of her. Like, all the walls are like cushioned. She has a lot of like frilly, interesting decor in her room. It reiterates the fact that she's a materialist, but it shows us that she really loves comfort, and also she loves her weapons because they're all there hanging up, which is, that's right, resourceful. I really love the plot point in this film where you realize that Zola sees herself in Sheeta. She tells her sons that she used to be like Sheeta when she was younger, and you can see a portrait in her bedroom of herself when she was Sheeta's age, and they do look very similar. But at this point in the film, she's no longer one of the villains. She's now helping the heroes, and she's one of my favorite characters in all of Studio Ghibli universe. Number 7 is Kiki's artist friend's cottage. In the dub, I think her name is Ursula, and she is a painter who lives by herself in the woods in a small little cottage. The house isn't like magical or inviting or particularly beautiful, but it shows a lot of who she is as a character. You can see that she lives very simply, she's very practical, and she's extremely disciplined. When Kiki first meets her, she doesn't stop what she's doing to go greet her. She makes Kiki come up to see what she's doing, and she's on the roof sketching the birds that are all around, and it just shows that she's not going to stop working to do some menial task or to go meet a new friend. She's there to create art, and that is where all her focus is. And you can see that in her living situation. Like, even the food that she has, she just kind of has like a loaf of bread. I mean, there might be more somewhere else, but she's like doing the bare minimum of other things so that she can really focus on her main passion and her main goal, which is to paint. The subjects of her drawings and paintings are people or things that are all around her, like she's sketching the birds. Her painting ends up being Kiki, as Kiki flies through the air. And finding the subjects of your art in the things that are close around you is called resourcefulness. Number 8 is the From Up on Poppy Hill Clubhouse. This movie is such a special place in my heart. I really love it. It feels very nostalgic. The clubhouse has really amazing architecture, and I think one of the main things that you feel when they walk into it for the first time is potential. Like, you can see what it could be, and you can see what maybe the two girls are thinking when they come in is like, oh man, this could actually be amazing if it was fixed up and cleaned up. The characters that use the clubhouse are incredibly creative, and they're very hardworking and knowledgeable. Like, they all have their thing that they're kind of obsessed with and that they're working on in the clubhouse, and so that takes up all their time and they don't think twice about what it looks like in there. Which you can tell by looking at it, until everybody comes together to help them clean it out and make it something special. Number 9 and 10 I'm grouping together because they're from the same film, and that is The Boy and the Heron. That's the newest Studio Ghibli film. And there's 2 characters, Lady Himi and Kuriko. What I love about Kuriko's home is how bright, colorful, and playful it feels. It's very adventurous, but it has some traditional aspects to it, like a lot of older pieces, because it is kind of back in time. It's a definite peek into the depth of character. She's very much like a rugged warrior who's been like fighting and living on her own for a really long time, but then inside her house you see there are these like playful type of motifs around the home, and you can see that there's a lot more to her than we were first presented with. And then we have Lady Himi's home, juxtaposed to Kuriko's, is like very different. It's very like sweet country cottage, and you know, she's got her apron, it's got the gingham tablecloth. It's very neat, organized, and clean, and a little bit sophisticated, which is a stark difference from Kuriko's home. Both of these characters have been fighting really hard, sort of on their own, and so it's interesting to see how different their personalities are, and then how different their homes are. And our last one, number 11, is the house in My Neighbor Totoro. The house reflects mostly the dad's personality because he's the adult and he's the only adult living there at the moment, and you can see there's things that the girls obviously bring in, like their toys, and like obviously they have their bedding and things like that, but the spaces with the most character are the spaces where the dad is actually working, and these spaces are pretty practical, simple, and they kind of show his discipline. They're very cozy. You can see though he's like very hardworking. There's so many books, there's so many things that he is working on that are kind of laid out everywhere, so he has access to them. But the house isn't like decorated per se, and maybe part of that is because the kids are so young and he's very practical, so they're kind of like missing the mom and what she could contribute to the interior of the home. Like, we don't get to see that because she's in the hospital pretty much the whole movie. So the house always feels like it's kind of like pulling for her to come home. Like if she was there, it would feel more complete. I love that we get to see the homes of these characters because it gives us a bigger window to see who they really are. A lot of times in films or shows, we don't get to see inside the character's home if they're like a warrior or adventurer, because it doesn't spend a lot of time hunkered down wherever they're from. It's more out in the world. So seeing these homes takes away an element of like mystery to the character's person, but it sacrifices that for something better, which is a peek into the soul of a character. So what I want to leave you with is that our homes should have that element of livability and personality, where we have all of our things that bring us joy around us, and people seeing that understand us a little bit better. Hayao Miyazaki was able to craft these amazing characters that feel whole. They feel real and they are really compelling. They make me want to follow along with their stories, and they stay with me long after the film is ended. And I think that showing the homes, showing the slow moments in time where we're doing something very simple in our own home is really powerful, and it gives humanity and a depth that we don't always get in films. So that'll be all my yapping for today. Let me know your thoughts down below and leave in the comments your favorite Studio Ghibli film and why. And thank you so much again to Skillshare for sponsoring this video. Make sure you click the link below to sign up and get 1 free month. And I'll see you guys in the next one.
The life of Rosalind is the life for